Welcome to Wildflowers, getting ready for class. There are a large list of paints that you would want to have handy. These are my favorites, but always lots of white. Love a brilliant blue. I also love a phthalo, deep magenta, any pinks that you have that you like. Deep yellow, brilliant yellow. Yellow ochre, if you have it in your set, is fantastic. It's a nice to have, not a must have. Definitely the darker, deeper yellows and a brilliant yellow. Violet, orange, emerald green, a phthalo green is great if you don't have those particular names, a light green, a dark green. Brown for the center, a little bit of black if you would like as well. And if you've taken class with me before, you've heard this speech, but I'll say it again, especially for this painting with the sunflowers. The yellow is a very thin paint, so these thicker consistency paints will be less frustrating for you, and it does not have to be Artist Loft. I just happen to buy that brand. Blick is fantastic. If you want to spend extra money, the Liquitex Basics are great. Golden, if you get the heavier body, not the runny stuff in the little tubes, like these. So like Craft Smart, any of those crafty paints, pretty thin. It'll be kind of tricky to get to where we want to go with our flowers on this. My suggestion is if that is all you have, don't toss it, use what you have till it's gone. Do grab some of the thicker white, titanium white, and you can mix it with those thinner paints, thicken them up, get lots of awesome colors. I love making my own colors. And gel gloss medium, in this particular one, I really kind of only use it in the clouds and the final gloss finish. This is a couple of options for painting on. I also do like a 7x9 for making little cards. As far as the mixed media paper size, but if you wanted to go ahead and do a canvas board, I wouldn't go any larger than a 9x12. Landscape positioning is my favorite for this piece. I stretched out my painting there on the left, but if you want really tall sunflowers, go portrait, and then maybe just like on the bottom part for the wildflowers a little bit smaller. But I always do landscape, and like I said, I'll take that 7x9 mixed media paper and fold it in half, and I have a lovely little card. I always put my name on the back and the date because I like to remember when I did it. Here are some paintbrush basics. You may or may not have already heard these things, but I'll go over them again. Love this set. It's very affordable. I also use it with my watercolors. I use them interchangeably. Here are the brushes that you'll want to have handy for this particular painting. If you do not have a fan brush, that's okay. They are awesome to have for making grass. We do want a larger one. This is a 3/4. A 1-inch would work too for getting that base coat that we'll do for our sky. The smaller ones, we'll definitely want the flats for our stems and our flowers. And a small round, we definitely are going to do a lot of detail work for, and this one is my smallest. You might not need that small, but we do want to have a couple of sizes. I'll use this textury brushes for my grass along with my fan brush. I love the fan brush. It is great. You can get a lot of colors on it all at once, which I will demonstrate in class. And if you don't have one, that's okay. One of your 3/4 inch or 1-inch flats will kind of get you there. So no worries, but definitely I am a fan of the fan brush. Haha. Palette knife. It's like, what is that white on white there? But it usually comes with the sets. You might have metal ones. Those are for mixing your paints. You can also use them to paint. For this particular class, we will be using it to mix colors. If you don't have that, you can use a plastic picnic knife. If you don't have that, you can use one of your paintbrushes. I just strongly suggest not using that paintbrush you used as a mixing device to paint with because it just gets out of shape and messy and it's a big mess. So just be aware of that. And that's another good segue towards how to ruin our brush, right? Leaving tons of paint on our brush, scrubbing them, leaving it out to dry. Especially in warmer months, it is really easy. They dry out quickly, so if I'm not using them, I get them tucked away. Try not to leave them in water for very long. And again, if you're using the handle for anything, make sure you wipe it. You don't want to end up with paint all over your hands and then accidentally on your painting. Cleaning the brushes do take time. I like to make sure I wipe them with some paper towel. I get as much paint off as I possibly can before I put it in water. You could spend forever in paint and water, right? This stuff is so thick and it dilutes, and then you could paint forever with it. Color choices, definitely. This is a wildly creative painting. Lots of different colors. Color wheel is great for if you're trying to make sure that you are mixing in the directions that you want. It helps you, figure out like, oh, I need a little bit more of this and a little bit of that, so you can get to those secondary colors. Also, it guides you for like what pops, those complementary colors. They work together to make each other pop. My favorite color is purple, so my direct complement, the color that makes it pop the most, is yellow. So when you get one of these, or if you have one, play around with it. It's super fun, especially for this particular painting, figuring out what will make your piece really pop. We will be dealing with some different values. I'll be talking about that, where we're going to go, definitely on the lighter side in our background and getting, richer, darker in the foreground. With that, we'll be working not with black paint. You can have a little bit of black mixed in for the centers of your flowers, but otherwise we're sticking with white. And then also I just want to talk about scale and proportion. Scale is the different general size of parts of the sunflower in this case. So we want to make sure that if we have a big, huge, giant bloom, that we have a stem that supports it. Just being aware of that. And then also to try to balance things out in this piece, I have a few big sunflowers and then some littler ones. So we'll learn more about that in class. Perspective, just kind of also what we'll think about here is, how many little ones, how much is in the foreground and the background, where do we want our eye, to go to besides our superstar sunflowers, right? That's kind of, for me, that's what I see when I first look at the painting, and then the next thing I see is the clouds. But those happen to be my favorite things to paint in it, so maybe that's why my eye goes right there. And coming into the background foreground, we will definitely spend a lot of time actually in our background to prepare us for the best possible outcome with our sunflowers. To tell you, the sunflowers are tricky. Wow, lots of information, but I just wanted to have a little bit out there for you to just be ready before we get onto that canvas. Can't wait to paint with you. Thank you.